Hi guys, in this video we'll be talking about various poetic devices. We'll start off with alliteration and we'll talk about many of them which will be useful for you in your life. Okay, so let's start off with alliteration. It's basically the repeating of beginning consonant sounds, the words that actually start a sentence and the words which are there in between a sentence. For example, creamy and crunchy starts with C and C again and again. For example, nodded, nearly napping. N. All three words in this particular part of a sentence have N as their first alphabet. And same goes for creamy and crunchy. So wherever there are words, wherever in a word there are various alphabets which have the same alphabet in the starting of more than one word can be considered alliteration. Okay, so the next one which we've got is internal rhyme. Sorry. Yeah, we have end rhyme first because it's more easy. The rhyming of words at the end of two or more lines of poetry, all right? For example, she always had to burn a light besides her attic bed at night. So light and right night are rhyming over here. There can be many examples: light, night, might, or mice, rice, or whatever. Wherever there is rhyme at the end of a few verses in a poem can be considered as end rhyme. Now, except for like apart from rhymes at the end of a sentence, there are rhymes in between a sentence as well, which is basically when the rhyming of words within one line of a poetry. For example, Jack Sprat could not eat no fat. So sprat and fat are rhyming over here. Peter, pumpkin eater. So they're rhyming in a sentence. So wherever there is rhyme in a sentence again and again, it's considered as internal rhyme. It's quite different from end rhyme. End rhyme is basically when there is rhyme at the end of a sentence. However, internal rhyme is between a sentence more than one time. More than obviously there cannot be rhyme if there is just one. Okay, onomatopoeia is when there are words used in a sentence which actually in a verse basically, or it can be a sentence as well, where we actually hear sounds. For example, buzz or gunk or gushy, swish, zigzag, zip, and stuff like that. So they can be considered as onomatopoeia. Next is repetition. This one's very easy. It's basically the repeating of a word or phrase to add a rhythm or to emphasize an idea. The same words are being used in a verse or in a sentence again, just to make the reader read it or feel a little focused on that particular part. Like it says here, while I needed nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping. There's a lot of rhyme here as well, and there's alliteration as well, but we're talking about repetition here. As of some gently rapping at my chamber door. So rapping and rapping is being repeated twice, so it's considered as a repetition. Okay. So what's basically figurative language? It's basically speech or writing that departs, that is not actually normal writing or does not have normal meaning, and it actually creates a special effect. A few examples are simile, metaphor, hyperbole, personification, onomatopoeia, alliteration, and idioms. We've discussed onomatopoeia, alliteration, and repetition. So as we did before, it's a recap. Alliteration is basically the repetition of sound in a sentence or a series of sentences. For example, Samantha soared down the street on her sleek skateboard. So S, and then 5 S's in a single sentence or worse is considered as alliteration. Personification is basically when we give humanly attributes to the non-living thing. For example, the tree invited us, come and play. The tree cannot actually invite, it's something which cannot speak. So obviously it's personification because we are giving the tree humanly attributes. All right. Simile. Simile is basically when we use words like or as to make a comparison. For example, that boy is tall as a building, or the house is dirty as a dustbin. You like it's given over here. The ball streaked across the field like a mortar. Getting it? Okay. 1 second. Yes, hyperbole or hyperbole is actually exaggeration. It's when you exaggerate something to make a point. All right. For example, the extra point kick missed by a mile, or Obviously there wasn't a Maya or anything. Or it can be your room is, my legs are very tired or stuff. Anything that exaggerates to make a point can be considered as hyperbole. An idiom is actually a phrase that means what it means, even if it doesn't make sense. Okay. At times, even if the sentence is not making sense, it will mean whatever it is anyhow. You can teach an old dog new tricks, can be one example. Metaphor is basically when you compare things without using the word like and as. Okay, it can be the examples can be life is a curly slide full of twists and turns. They're comparing life with a curly slide because, and they're not using like and as. So this is basically a metaphor. Then it's onomatopoeia. Another is explanation. That it zoomed across the sky. Zoomed is actually a sound. All right, so that's all for this video. See you all next time. Goodbye.